Welcome, guys. Wednesday, 12th of November. Not much changing from last Sunday that I've been streaming, but still the weakness is there. So let's jump in quite quickly. I have some things to go cover and go by. The most important, what I've been talking last Sunday, 110k. We didn't even reach that area quite heavily. We didn't flip the 106. I've been talking about that. That's the first step for even going higher to flip that. We've been trading like a little bit more into the 106, but we quite obviously was failing it on the 4 hour. And right now we are the really nice today, to be exact, really nice bearish retest of the weekly open. So far, it's a second 4 hour failure. Right now, we are sitting at 101-ish area that I've been as well mentioning on Sunday. But that's the make it or break it area. If we start to break that area, that means we're gonna break as well the daily lower swing. Be aware of that. There is not much to the left on this structure that's gonna hold us. If that's gonna be a failure and we're gonna continue, we start to eat through this small wall. If that's still not going to hold us, then I'm still considering that we're going to reach 94 for a potential small bounce. That's my goal. That's my area. That's still my point of view, because if we're not going to flip 1 or 10, then there is only two ways that we possible can go. It's sideways for ages, or get back into the 94 and then break it to the upside, start to break anything. As you can see as well on the TPOs, still 110. It's the highest volume area. The area in between still stackable, but not really major. And the second highest right now, we are getting into the 101. That's the area that we need to hold. Or if we start to break, then obviously we're gonna slide a little bit lower. That's what I want to mention. We are still in the same area we've been last week and even I think week before. So be aware, this is technical, a little bit more sideways. As painful and that price action it is still in a weakness. Right? We didn't regain nothing significant. Yes, maybe on 1 hour we had a nice up movement, but we still broke that already. So be aware of that. This is really, really freaking important. There are a little bit more things to it. Going on the chart, we had nice sell. You can technically say it's a sell-off from the VIX. We get below the 18. If we start to hold below the 18 and grind to the low of those of this swing to the 15, that's good potentially for the market, right? But coming back below above the 18, we start to do something that I'm not really kind of keen and like to do it on the VIX, because we start to do something like that. So be aware of that. But the volatility is going to be always in both ways, especially in VIX. Start to do something like this, we start to aim to get close to 28. So grinding is quite painful, and it can stretch for quite a long time. So be aware of that because we still didn't even break anything to the majory to the downside. That's on the daily. We're still aiming to go back below 60. So far, we are middling. If we start to regain, then yeah, we're gonna feel this week definitely, and even coming higher up. But that's for the longer term. 60, we had that break to the downside, or technically pullback. We still daily didn't break anything yet. Technically, there is still continuation, right? Breaking below 99, coming back into the 98. That's what you want. That's going to be a nice push on the market. We want the dollar to go lower, that the market can eventually higher up. But any reverse and going back into the 99.7, that's asking for trouble, because we still having some more support below us. Even we can slide a little bit lower. Right now, we are on the daily highest swing. Be aware of that, right? As well, the daily low, it's still quite heavily to the downside, considering even to be broken. Next, the total tree, as perfect as it gets, it came quite heavily to the 1 trillion, and we had a seriously sell off from that. So underside readers, us on the close, it's quite pretty right? I've been mentioning that as well on Sunday. This level, and this is the level that you want to watch out for. We seriously need to close anything above. We didn't. We had a sell-off, and right now we still have a continuation. That means we still overall on the market aiming to go lower. Still, that's not gonna reverse. Going back into the 923, that started to get troubling because every single candle below that and to the left been tested. There is not much to hold us. If this is not gonna hold, this level over here is not gonna hold, there's nothing else that's gonna hold, and we might slide even lower. So be seriously aware of that. And of course, like vice versa, we seriously need to come close right now to 99-ish area, and that gonna be the next flip of the resistance. Because right now, that swing been tested, right? As clean as it is, it's been tested. So going back into that, will slide us higher, and we're gonna get into the 1 trillion there. That's good. That's potentially good, but that's only good when we start to reverse. Not much seeing it right now yet, right? And I'm still on the daily. Watch out for it. So yeah, if you start to invert the chart, you want to see the failure, right? As you get into it, failure, and then you start to slide. Where do you go? There, right? I think that's all. As building a support. But closing anything below 923, that start to get a little bit more troubling. So yeah, so much about that. Let's go on the gold. Gold had a really nice push, so happy about that. I didn't even check the bots on that. How does it perform? But so far manually, don't think I'm in that position anymore. I think I closed something in a profit. Anyhow, we are still into this big range. We need to flip the 4K 248. That's the biggest flip that you need to do on gold for any potential to get into this area, because that's the highest time frame close. Right now, you have the 2 weekly candles bearishly. Right now, you start to reverse. If that's going to be the failure, you might aim to go lower, or we're going to hold this whole range. I'm kind of aiming we're going to grind this. I'm not really thinking we're going to get back into the 3.4 or 5-ish area, but let's see. This can go both ways just because packs especially have those big ass wicks, liquidity grab wicks to the upside and downside. Gold specific doesn't have that, so it could go a little bit more both ways, but still technically aiming as a gold one. Be aware, because we've been breaking the structure on that one. That's on the daily structure been broken. That's heavy. Delete that one. So if you want to have it as easy as it gets, if I can borrow this, then this is what you aim for, right? Structure been broken on the daily. High time frame structure on gold been broken. Doesn't mean we're gonna nuke it through 2K or 1K. Still potentially next level to aim for. There's some hips over here that can hold you, right? Those are those known M patterns, first stops in the whole movement. So there's potential some more support. If not, I'm aiming we're gonna get close to the 3.5. Same thing what we did over here. It's something like this. That retest of that wick, we could potentially do it over here. Let's see how that's gonna. And just FYI, I'm just gonna want to mentioning I closed my 70% of my Netflix trade, some over here. I don't really remember. I was on the way, so some over here, and the rest are gonna let it run, and I don't care about it anymore. I'm gonna see it if we potentially gonna have another bigger swing failure from the highs. If not, I don't care about it anymore. And still, there is this split coming in on the 17th. Let's see how that's gonna be playing out. But so far, CME gap. That small little gap over here been closed already. That's obviously not really something that to mention. There is one more below 92. Not really care about that. Dominance, it's a bit more interesting. As I've been mentioning, we can have it in 2 ways right now. From the high that we create over here, we can come back into the 60 or a little bit more into this area and then push it higher. That means we will do some major things to the downside, or we're gonna break the stuff. So far as it gets, we got really to the T over here on the wick. We got into the 59 and we bounced back from it, from the low, from the daily low that we settled over here. That was a really good support. Unfortunate it is to the upside, so take it as it is. Right now, we regain the daily high and we're retesting it right now. Holding this area over here like we are doing right now, closing it and have a continuation into it, we are aiming to get into the 60 area. That said, be aware that and remember on the daily high time frame, dominance didn't break the structure. Not even, I mean, we've been barely over there, but didn't close anything below that. So be aware, we are still in a continuation, right? Because I like to do it, switch off the wicks. What do you see? You're still closing anything above your previous structure, right? So holding over here, as we are doing right now, wave master for it, holding it like that, with that buyback technically, you are aiming to get back into the 60. Now, that starts to get a little bit more troubling because then this whole arrow kind of can play out because you can blast through it. That level of daily high swing over here been already tested and we're closing it already above it. Not even, we went higher than that on the wick. So coming into that area, that level, it's not going to be a resistance anymore as it's been over here. So we're going to slide higher up, coming back, hopefully retesting it, and then we're going to go back into the 62. That's the aim to the upside. If so not, you seriously need to do some damage to the upside. To the downside. Closing right now anything below 59. So the aim is right now to have a potential push into the market higher up. Then that's your aim. That's the close that you really need to have right now. Right? So closing anything above that and you're aiming for 59. Break that. That's going to be quite easy. Why? Because this wick has those two body candles without wick, right? So you don't have not even a small wick on it. So coming close to that area, you're gonna slide through it. That's not gonna be even a resistance technically to the downside. Then you're aiming to go lower up. Potentially you want this, right, on the dominance. So far, unfortunately, how it is, we are still aiming to go higher up on it. It all depends how we're gonna open up the day tomorrow and after tomorrow and vice versa. And, you know how the drill is. But overall, this is still continuation. Nothing been broken yet to the down. Be aware of that. And most of it been already tested to the upside. So this is already cancelled. All this is cancelled, and even this is cancelled. So what's the aim? All that stuff over here. Do we want that? Technically, we don't. It all depends in which position you are. Where do you want the market to go? Overall, that's the whole area or play right now. So watch out. Oh, have a look today on the end of the day how this is gonna close because that's gonna be quite interesting. Anyhow, moving on. Was there anything else over here? No. Yeah, everything. Next, metric bundle. Right now, we are still pushing it lower. So already we are starting to get below 101. That's quite troubling. Why? As I've been mentioning, volume-wise, we are below the whole volume of control. Going back into that, we're going to eat through all of that. We might have some failure of the higher time frame as well. So starting to get into that area. And as our brain will kind of like calculated that this is not really that appealing, still it can be, right? The area that we're having above us, this can be skipped. And as are we doing right now, and I've been mentioning already from the area over here and the area that we've been here, that all of that shit over here can be skipped. And so far, we are doing it. Right? That's as well the max pain, not doing the right thing that it should be. Remember that. That doesn't play that often in the market. is quite significant. On top of that, for me, I don't care about that much, but just because there is a lot of coming in on the economic numbers, be aware that tomorrow, exactly tomorrow, before market New York open, or is New York open? I don't remember now because of the time change. Can be before or on the time of the market open. You have economic data coming in. It will be because it's core inflations and rates coming in tomorrow. It will be volatile. No matter what the numbers says as forecast and preview, it still will give you the volatility in the market. Be aware of that. So, as I've been mentioning, let's say sellers are in position right now, the buyers are giving up, and the price starts to move a little bit lower. If we start to get below 101 and closing anything below that, we start to drop into this area over here. How deep we're gonna go, that's gonna be set. I'm still aiming for 94, and not because of the liquidity over here. There is more to the charts, right? So oscillators wise as well, we are still aiming to go lower. We are not even close to 40% on the Wave Master and on-chain, Harmony and on-chain. So we could still dip lower. On top of that, as perfect as it gets, stable coins are on 50%, alts are middling, bitcoins are down, a large cap as minus 48. There it is. This is still continuation to the downside till we're gonna flip. This is still continuation to the upside till we're gonna flip. And I hope and I think that a lot of people are starting using capital flow index. This is the seriously flip-flop indicator, which you are looking at right now. One should go higher and another should go lower. If they start to reverse, we're going to have a squeeze. The squeeze potential on it is over here. Natural zone, every single token is over here, or category is over here. And then we start to do this and this. We start to flip from each other. So means stable coins need to go down into the minus 60. Large caps need to go up in the 60% for potential, or in the movement of continuation of higher or lower. Hope that's a little bit clear. But that's how you use this area. You can see clearly on the lines where we start to flip, and the squeeze is in the middle. That's how I'm using it, and been quite helpful in my trading already quite a lot of months. On top of that, continue to my own capital flow index. Maybe you all having your own. I'm still wish that people been sharing them, just the screenshots how they use and what they have on the screen, because I'm quite interesting how different people are using in different styles of trading. So I'm still waiting for that. Some of my students been already sending me shitloads of it, but most of the members are really interesting how you all been using that. But so far, this shit been really making money. That's next level shit. So Dixie, we came quite heavily from 70% into the neutral zone. This still potentially can go lower, yes, but neutral zone can be as well a bounce back, right? VIX as well. I think I'm gonna start to this. Gonna be quite easier. You can see that VIX as well, and as I've been mentioning it this previously, I'm looking at this as well as structure wise. What are we doing right now? Still we coming back technically, and right, let's please don't tell Stu that. But this could be a stupid fib for the capital flow index. Anyhow, I'm joking, but that's quite crazy. Still, I'm using it as a structure wise. So losing that high, coming back into the previous low, holding that, there is a continuation. Looks like VIX still aiming for the neutral line, flipping the neutral line, going higher. Then yes, you have that. Same here. What we've been doing. Let me raise the one as well. That's exact the same way how you all trading charts. Right, this is the continuation higher. Right now, you broke that. You had the technically lower high, and see if you're gonna break that. Breaking that, coming lower than 90, then of course you're gonna continue to minus 60. But this is how I always read those charts. And look how technically, if you zoom out and go back in the back testing it, it played out quite heavily. So Let me erase that. So yeah, that's how I look at, on those lines as well. If I want to do like a little bit more in-depth understanding how the coin or how the market is uh, working or doing their magic. But that's the whole deal. VIX is still in neutral line together with Dixie. SPX had a spike up. We saw that as well. That's why I closed my position. PAX quite heavily. So that's that all reverse as well, or even continuation higher, then we're going to stay here. And we are staying here for quite a long time. Don't forget about that. We are doing this on the market at Bitcoin, ETH, and Total 3 since October. So yeah, aware. It's still continuation. So we're not going to break that or regain anything. You can see that as well clearly on this chart. This whole clutter been doing the down movement since the October as well, since even here. And we still didn't reach the minus 60%. So potentially there is still continuation. I hope that's clear. Looking ended way how I look at it. Now, let's have a look on our lovely biddy. And like always, I'm starting with the high time frame. This whole shit is still wrecked, right? Even we had a close quite above the 101 area, right? But still, that's a quite shitty close eventually. And right now, we still have a continuation in this week. So as I've been mentioning, Sunday, this could go a little bit more higher up, retest into the wick, quite perfectly even, or even on the body, and then reverse and go lower. So the reason why 101.1 is quite important is because that's still the weekly low that's been already tested with this wick. But still, this is still something that you need to close below, even go lower. So that's on a weekly. Monthly, there is no need for it. And on top of that, we have this whole daily body structure on 101-ish area. Let's say 3, but weekly was 1, but gonna be perfect. So this is the daily right now that you don't want to lose if you don't want to go lower. But coming back into that area again, closing anything below, the whole daily is wrecked. And everything what you build up here, that support, it's done. So be aware, and that's why I was mentioning 101-ish area. Overall, what did we do? Still same shit. Right? Really nice straight line. Go to the artist club or something. Underside retest, failing, continuation into lows. Right? So this is the low. This is the range where we are still in. Holding that, where did you go? Do something like this, coming back. So now we start to change something, right? This is the change that you want. Are we doing it right now? No. Now it's going to be tricky because closing anything below that still can come higher. Underside retest, failing, failing. If you're going to have that, boy, oh boy, 94 need to be really strong to hold that, because not only we are sliding still and have a continuation to the downside, but boy, that's going to do some damage to the market, because then and only then we start to fail the lows of the high time frame. Because so far from the high and the mid, what we did was just a pullback. I hope you guys realizing what we did over here. That this is just a pullback what we did, and not even that heavily, because we've been technically grinding. I mean, one heavy or that freaking black swan event or whatever people are calling this, and then we start to grind lower and lower, right? So overall, remember that this is just a pullback. Right now, we are really on the line of making it or break it. So let's hope we reverse quite quickly and do some damage to the upside. Personal, you know, my opinion, I'm not really keen about that. Why? Because we are still failing. We didn't regain shit. Sorry for my words, but it is what it is. Even this daily over here, with the support, we are still losing it. We didn't even come close to 110 that I've been mentioning. There's still a small gap above us. So this already, not only the price action that we had, the dead price action after the whole wipe, but already starting like it, they try to make it that they are strong and start to hold on here, start to regain something. As quicker as it gets, we had the weakness into it, and all of that together, it says to me like, this is not done. We still gonna do some one more big, or not really big, but some pain move to the downside, because we still didn't break this line. We still didn't. This is still technically all big ass range. Maybe a little bit sloppy one, but it's still a range. This is still range. Didn't break that. Now over here, we start to look to break something. I hope you guys realize that, or you're seeing the same thing that I'm seeing. So it's not going to be surprise that you or me are a little bit more bearish. It's not really, I don't like to use bearish, but I'm more to the downside right now than to the upside. Because still, if you can regain anything, then the weakness is still in. Over here, what did we do? Perfect as it gets, this is really, really to the T price action. Like that failure over here with that wick into that high, failing it and closing again below, that was a perfect shot. And right now, what did we do over here? Same thing. Like this big ass candle, and I've been watching not only the Discord but as well Twitter when that candle forms, and everyone was bullish, and everyone started to fucking long the shit out of it. And oh boy, look at that. Not only we've been failing 4 hour quite significant 1, 2, and 3 times in a row, we didn't regain shit. So this is the TA 101. On top of that, I want to mention as well, how can you signify quite weak, let's say, like, I don't know how to express that better, but daily, you open up daily over here on 1015, quite bullish open, if you can say that, and straight up you went and closed below on 4 hour, below the daily. You didn't even come close to retest that level. Now I want to show you how strong the levels are in both ways, right? How do you signify weakness? That's one. Sorry, this should be the first one already. This wick over here, that's the weakness. Secondary, daily open, bang, failure. Next one, daily 2, you can see it because it's over here together with the weekly, even correct weekly open. Weekly was here, we had the weekly open here, we went up, hold that weekly perfectly, and fail straight ahead. That was the second one. Daily over here as well, and now you have the perfect weekly retest. Done. Doesn't show any strength at all. And look at that failure over here. Perfect. Stupidity. Below, literally below the previous daily open. Right. Retest that. Done. And look at that. Daily open over here. Next one. Oh, even I didn't see that one even yet. Open, straight up, failure from the weekly. Done. Those level doesn't hold anymore that strength that it used to be. So there we have it. All of those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weakness in 1 week. Week, let's say Sunday, in 4 days. This is it. And you don't need any like fucking 100 indicators on your chart to show you that. This is it. Retest and fucking gain. The only simple ones that you need, and the levels. What's important? Right now, you need to regain your daily back 103. Where do you need to go? Weekly. Where are we? Now you're gonna fight the 4 hour. In 2.5 hours, you're gonna fight this level. And let's see if that's gonna be a sneaky close or not. Because if you're gonna close like slightly below, that's done. And then not really, this not gonna hold you because it's been tested. This not gonna hold you. It's been tested. Big ass wicks to the downside. we might see something like this coming back into it, right? Sliding into it, one push, and then that's going to be done. Back into the 94 area for potential continuation, right? For any regain or any potential to go higher, boy, we need to do some work. Not only we're going to have, again, resistance over here because that shit didn't been tested even, not even close. So still, this is, we will like that. This is the area for resistance. So coming back into that close as it gets, you're still going to do something like that. And maybe potentially holding that, right? So then you're going to have this continuation. That means we seriously need to reverse right now. So yeah, there is a lot of weakness right now. Mid time frame and a little bit more on a higher time frame. Depends how the daily is going to close today. And we are seriously, like, if you look at this, we are starting to go below all of this volume, right? So I hope this is quite clear and will understand where we are right now. And that's only on the levels and structure. There is quite a lot to that. Secondary, to show you as well what I'm aiming. And yes, even if we have this small, let's say small pocket below us, right? Change that to the bands. Use the bands, guys. You can go wrong with the bands. Like, this is seriously blind trading even. Because we still not even close to get back above the band and trade above that. Why? Because every single time we've been trading below, you had a continuation. Where do we change? Seriously need to do flip this, grind into that band, and then hold that. And then we start to change. Right? Something like this, similar. Like, yeah, so far, what are we doing? Every single time you get into the band, the core trend, there you have it. As easy as it gets. And to be honest with you, if you said, yeah, but there is not much levels below us, like, obviously this area, yeah, this is thick, but below that, maybe not that much. But look how that's going to change drastically with the average, right? We are still in the whole middle area of liquidity, and there is still maybe low time frame, or sorry, low leverage, but still quite a lot below us. Just to open your eyes a little bit more on the liquidity, right? Same thing to the above. Yeah, I know, exact the same thing, but we need to still flip some things and hold some things for a while to grind up higher. That's why I'm using more often the bands instead of the levels. And there is a reason as well why, for example, in all of those days that we've been quite high, there is much more stacked, or it's been much more stacked to the downside than to the upside liquidity, right, to grab. So then people asking like, yeah, but there's much more there. I get that. Yeah, this is really appealing, right? Getting into that shit. Yeah, we're gonna get into the 20K, sorry, 120K or whatever. Yes, we will. So far, we are still grinding to the downside. They don't care if there is not much to grab, or they make you think there is not much to grab. They still can wick into it, right? Same thing was over here. We did all of this, used to grab all of that. So yeah, it's not only about one move, it's all about the whole market, how it's going to behave. So yeah, that's the thing. What I want to show you on liquidity and master. Oh, yeah, that's what I was aiming for. This whole pocket over here. Been a while, we've been there, right? Last time we kind of get close to it was in June. Time before the area that we've been grinding upside, that was in May. So there it is. Still quite heavy, definitely overlapping, even 2 times on each other. So yeah, that's start to get really appealing, and it quite fits with the price action that I'm kind of aiming for. Yes, we still can go deeper, but the most appealing, let's say, liquidity over here, it's around 994. This is the area. If we start to lose shit quite heavily right now and potentially go lower, then yes, this is the area that I'm aiming for. Because there is nothing else except this whole wick, because this is only wick, no body on it, gonna hold us. We potentially could slide lower. So yeah, that's as well. And on top of that, as simple as it gets, Wave Master 4 hour. Still possible even continuation to the downside, because we still didn't reverse on it. And be aware of that we could have a negative cross on cash flow. So yeah, that's Bitcoin, bit in a nutshell and in my perspective. And just give you a quite idea, I still didn't add the new levels because there is a swing failure that I'm kind of aiming. But overall, like I've been mentioning, we didn't reach the 110. That's the area to flip the whole bigger time frame. And right now we are grinding into that daily low over here, and still back to 100k again, or could be, right, if we're not gonna start reversing. So yeah, those are the levels so far. 4 hour, we still have a new one, or we just create a new one. So that's the swing for our swing failure, what we did over here. And look at that. Don't tell me that the swing failure doesn't play out. Fucking perfect to the T. Sorry, even more perfectly. Hang on. Into the failure. Gone. Nice. Perfect. I love it. So yeah, that's on the bitty. Hype. Bit more interesting. A little bit more extended moves. I'm still didn't update my levels because I'm a bit too lazy for that and away from the charts. But overall, what we are doing, we got back from 94 into the 55. So quite nice move. Right now, we are starting to grind it out, right? If that's going to be the case, then we might do something like that. If that's not going to be the case of we doing that and start to doing something like this, some bullshit moves, could be. Never say never. So far, I can fail some levels in between. I don't mind that. Only I like to see the main ones to hold. So eventually those, and those, right? But the ones in between, yeah, potentially could fail, like we did already over here. We had a close below. Right now we holding on 58. If that buyback is going to be strong enough to get back into the area of 40 and start to grind it out, right, something like that, and create new high from it, then yes, potentially we are aiming to get back in 45 resistance. Quite big one, quite heavy one. So remember that as well. Not only we have the resistance above the 50 that we only touch on the wick on it, we get into that and we had a straight failure into it. So this still potentially get back in the 45 and then start to flip some things. So this is quite heavily resistance area for hype. Not only we've been once there and holding barely on the 35. So be aware that grind need to be done for it to be flipping stuff, right? You don't want to see something like this. That could be quite extended and maybe potentially heavier on hype. But let's see if that's going to be the case. If the second failure of this whole resistance, we might find ourselves back into the 20 area. That could be. A hype potentially likes to regain quite heavily as well the stuff, the resistance, and aggressive as well. If that's happened, still potentially higher up 57. And then the area that I seriously was thinking we're gonna go back into it and get into it is 70, and that's gonna be the major market bear market stuff when we start to fail things. But so far we are not even close from it. So not even thinking about that. This is the area that we are in. Let me erase all of that stuff. Overall, what we are doing over here is be aware of that as well. So coming back into this area, still a failure till we're gonna hold on 35. We're gonna do this $20 movement around just to grind it out, right? Same thing as we've been doing over here, like potentially to the upside, right? All technically up movement grinding stuff. We still can do on hype. They can, and I bet you they maybe will do something like this, right? Grind it out, hold on the stuff, even perk and push a little bit more higher, and then start to get into it. Major failure, and then maybe the bear market. So far, still, your aiming is every single time you're gonna go back. Let's say this is your major support that you don't want to lose, because it is. Right now, every single time you're gonna, if you want to have a trade, every single time you're gonna go back into this area on this low, that's a buy, and then you aiming into this area or and taking TPs on every single high of it. So that's the game plan for hype, and that's what I'm playing as well. So coming back into it, that's a TP, major TP coming in, buy, TP, buy, whatever, till you start to lose things. First major losses of this area, this box, 37, gonna bring you into this. Be careful as well. As sneaky as it is, that shit been tested with this whole wick. And then there you have a next wick into the area of the support your previous swing. That's been tested. If that fails, this fails, you're gonna get back into the 33. So be aware of that. Make sure you understand the swing levels and you know what to hold and what to fail. You don't want to fail major as this, and you need to hold on this. Everything above 38, it's a buy, and you go aim for 43. And that's the play. That's $10 play swing over here. Grind out, even go higher. Failing one of those levels, it's done. Be aware of that on hype. That's easier to get. Now, my beloved AVAX and injective. Boy, oh boy, I think I mentioned that. Or was it on injective? Oh boy, that's gonna be juicy. Yeah. Oh, let me get into it. Second. So far, AVAX still. Smurn, cover your eyes and ears. On side it is. We still didn't regain. Technically did over here, but not the major failure, swing failure from the 18. We got back into the 15, and right now the only thing what we are doing is first underside retest from the swing failure low and the highs we didn't even reach. Right now, what did we do? Still holding potentially on this hip over here, but if you're gonna close the candle right now where we are, anything below that, you're gonna get back into the 50.5. So this is you hold. I don't think this area gonna matter that much. You're gonna aim for the low, and then that could be the buy if you're gonna hold that. So potentially the best thing for AVX right now, and same on injective, a bit more extended, gonna be the play to do something like this, grind it out, regain, and flip it. Right? To have this, we can change of character. That's what you want. But overall, right now, down it is still. Because you didn't flip your high on it. You had a small regain of your previous high, but you are starting to fail that. You start to close anything below 16. It's a sneaky one. I was looking at it as well. I was quite happy, but still, I don't like how we are holding right now. We are still we still have some room to the downside for potential hold. Let's see what the algo master gonna say. That one, there it is. This you support that you want to hold. Really hold, close anything above it, and that's potentially a nice long position with the tight stop loss below the wick. Percent. I think you can even stretch it to, yeah, exact 2%. That's a nice one. Could be nice if you aim for this, right? That's a quite nice play. And yes, I still have rather to do that. But then depends how you're gonna hold on at that one. I'm quite careful with the longs right now. More like blindly shot the shit out of everything because that's quite easier. But longing, it's a little bit more tricky and you could get burned. Don't watch if you not watch out. Yeah, this is AVEX, still continuation till we're gonna regain 18. Flipping 18 again, going back into the sorry 18.9, get into this highs of it here. Right, that's essentially what you want. That's change. Right, I think I've been saying that as well last week Monday. This is what you want. That continuation. Um, this small meme coin as well. Exact the same movement as on AVEX. Did more extended on the first one than on the second one, but still it regained the previous high, what we settled, the small one, before it had this pullback. I'm not really considering this high, but I was kind of looking for it with this week that we're gonna finally regain that shit, but of course we didn't. We come back, we had the pullback right now, retest, continuation. Same on AVEX, closing anything right now, you're gonna start to lose your previous low and you're gonna aim for your 7-ish area. Then and only then, the only what I will aim for to long position is just potentially of those moves over here. I'm quite certain it might hold it. Certain might, that's fitting in one sentence, but um, I don't think we're gonna get really, really nasty into the fucking $3 or $4. I mean, I'm gonna be much more happy. But if I will need to be like looking for a long position, then as tight as it gets, same thing as on AVEX, below the wick, as easy as it gets, below the swing failure. That's this. On on injective, I'm 3.5 or ish area. I'm taking it. So I'll ladder in into the position a little bit more heavier. But yeah, this is still technically holding on this hip, but coming closing the candle like that or in this position to still failing your previous swing, you might fail this. Because this is not really significant swing failure. There are rebounds. Overall, we didn't regain shit. We've been tested. But the good side on injective, what's a little bit more better than AVEX, in my opinion, for now, because AVEX didn't come close on the wick to the high of this swing. So it still could potentially be a resistance as a bounce back from it. Injective did test all of that stuff. And every single thing, what you see over here, been already tested. So this daily high swing, not really holding as a resistance. So if we start to reverse and do something like that, I'm not really aiming that this gonna hold. We're gonna aim for the high of this thing. So potentially, if injectors start to get a little bit more spicy and go higher up and start to really regain stuff, then this is the only area that I'm seeing some resistance on it. Every single thing below or to the left of that shit, it's already tested. So it's kind of like a free run higher up, but that's only potentially if we start to reverse and go higher on it, right? So yeah, and I don't know if you guys want me to mention this bullshit, but remember that we broke and fail already. So any coming back into that, that's a failure. Maybe get into stuff. Just remember that it's starting to look like it found its weakness already. How does it look daily? Ooh, look at that. Even daily fail. Ooh, nice one. Ooh boy, that could get nasty. Any retest or coming into the high, failing again. Ooh, new low, 315. Yep, failing that, you get quite nasty. And quite funny that on the X people are taking the shit of this coin because the owner or someone is trans or something. I don't know. Been reading some comments about it. It was quite. Hmm. Oh yeah, this meme coin. So I think I've been mentioning it on Sunday. Double retest on it. Didn't even regain. Didn't come close to the high. Well, we did do it on the wick, so eventually potentially reverse right now and going into that area as well, 3.6. That's gonna behave as a slide, and then you're gonna start to get finally back into the 3.7 or maybe higher resistance. So far, overall, as I mentioned Sunday, that one looks quite better than the rest of the market. It's not only we had potentially a nice hold over here on the flip, high into the resistance, twice even coming back into the support, and now we could aim to do something like that. So potentially, and as ironic it is, ETH looks a little bit more better than the rest market, especially Bitcoin, because ETH start to hold on the support already twice. So this is quite heavily, and already on the wave master, you see there is potential to go higher. This area over here, that's not going to be the issue anymore because it's been tested twice. So reversing right now, the only thing what you're going to do is over here, same thing, coming into that, something like this, and then into that resistance. This is the play, right? And yes, watch out for it because this could be and still is your super flip area over here. Who likes to mention that? So eventually coming back into that resistance, you have a pullback, hopefully into that support again, and then you start to aim into the bigger stuff on the higher time frame that you fail from here. And that's why ETH looks a little bit more, technically a bit more as well than the rest market. So yeah, I think that's quite enough of me yapping about all this stuff because I don't think there is much more to say about the rest of it. They start to grind into it. Resistance. Really don't like this, but hey, this is what it is. Could be. Quick look how this looks. People have been asking about quite a lot. So there is nothing. Okay, cool. Yeah. So holding on that, I have it in reverse. So need to flip that. If not, watch out because all that grind could end up in that. If you don't flip one or two, technically because that was a failure, and yes, we have still one more resistance above it, but I'm still aiming on that. Just that high been failed from here, so the swing point approach you over there, but then it failed. So that's why this one is more keen for me. You want to flip one or two into it, and then you start to get into the heavier stuff. If not, you're gonna do one more sweep because all of that grind over here, one more sweep, and then you're gonna bounce from it. So watch out from it. But that's technically what I will look for. Bullshit. Oh yeah, rap. You asked me for 1 hour one. Yeah, I mean 1 hour still technically looks good because if this is the continuation, then yeah, but you still freaking doing that till that start to break. So already, and if I might borrow again or have it go right now into it, and on the levels, I think you are holding quite better on the daily right now. Even weekly, you're holding quite better than the rest of the coins. So yeah, still continuation. Yeah, regain your previous high. So that's gonna be the 102, right? If you regain that, going back into the 102, and then you start to get into that stuff. So yeah, potentially you're gonna see something like this, going back, maybe one more, till that start to break. If you start to do something like this, watch out for it. I give you two scenarios. One, hold, failure. Then you know what that means. Coming back into the lows, grabbing all the liquidity over here. Again, nice straight line. And that's your biggest stuff. Why? Because then you're gonna have this. Ooh. But that's for a different moment. So yeah, overall, that's, I guess, all from me yapping about Bitty and looking out for it. Setting some levels. That's 1 hour close. Okay. Quite okay. Quite okay. But yeah, 4 hours, still 2 hours to go. So watch out for it. Anyhow, any questions, guys, so far? Is there anything much interest? It's got to fill. And this is as well like quite painful. Not really painful, but a bit more irritating because every single time there was one moment I think I'm gonna market. Anyhow, so the way that Bitcoin today behaved, and that's that's a little bit. It was a little bit sketchy because everyone was thinking, yeah, we're gonna take all of that shit. That's fine. I'm personal myself as well. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna grab that. We're gonna do a new high, and you have a continuation, bang on, and we reverse on it. But overall, we had the swing failure over here, right? Close, and then we ripped through it. We didn't even come close to 100 X's, and 50 we didn't even took it. So what does that mean? It still leaves there. That means no matter how we're gonna come back into that, we will still react from it, right? So even if we're gonna hold on that, coming back into that, hold, and then we start to maybe regain that stuff, right? So that's gonna play as well another significant level of distance. So be aware of that. That in mind. Because every single time, same thing, right? Come into that 150 area, we have some potential rebounds from it or potential bounce. So yeah. And make sure like there is overlapping. Like if stuff and shit starts to overlap, then that's already like on top of everything, confirmation and confluence into the like, yeah, this is the area that things gonna go for. So yeah, but still, like I've been saying, not don't look only on this stuff. Please start using bands because how nice and accurate the lines are, yes, I understand that, but this gonna give you as well more direction way which we are dealing with, going for, right? We're still trading below, and literally right now, where did we come back into it? Like, look at that, still almost into that core shit. So a bounce back from it, and how significant it was. We closed in 4 hours straight below after forming a freaking bullish one. Like, how sketchy do you want to have it? Like, if you want to trap longs, that was the perfect way. Perfect. You wipe them out straight ahead, and 4 hours still room to go lower. So yeah, like I've been saying, watch out. Those are like really important levels. 101 ish. So not ish, but 101.3 is the most important level right now to hold. If you close anything below that, then sorry, but we're gonna slide a little bit more lower. Potentially we're gonna get into the 98, bounce back, and we're gonna do this bullshit, right? Bounce back, coming back into it, and then over here, maybe we're gonna have a bigger reaction. That's what I'm aiming right. This. I'm going to see some strength, let's say. Then the only strength I want to see is coming back into that area over above, quite significant, taking most of the liquidity out, coming back, and not even coming back into the lows. Like halfway, I want to reverse straight out into this area. Then you're going to see strength into this area instead of this. And you see how quick those, how you can call it, those ways of, how you call it, like, fuck, I'm losing my words over here. Not a tube, cylinder, what the fuck they've been calling this? Patterns, like, I don't care. But how quickly you can change this, get into this, right, way of trading. Anyhow, hope you get my. Those are the two things that you need to watch out for right now. Right now is failure of 101-3, and then going in the continuation back into the 98, going back 102, liquidity grab again. Then you have a continuation slide into the 94. That's the next major level. That's, if we're gonna get that, that's your most likely higher bounce, what you're gonna get from it. You, Michael. If you start to get reverse on it, so that means potentially you're gonna see sweep into the highs, hold that, going back into the lows, and then you have a continuation. But no matter what, there's still much more resistance above us than there is support below. Watch out. Remember that as well. It's not gonna be easy to get through the stuff that we are building over here. We didn't even reach 1 to 10. Well, already the 5th of November. If someone knows where is that. When looking at levels, do you consider swing level or open important, or them the same? Technically, you treat them the same. One is heavier than the other. It depends in which way do you want. Like, do you want to retest something? Then one could be more heavier or more possibility to retest from. By swing, as in swing failure, it's for me always the first one to go for. Why? Because swing failure coming from a swing on of the structure. The level is just a timing open of a candle, right? Still, both. Still the level, like the open levels over here. So let me put this away. Still, all of those levels, they do matter, right? More less than another ones, because one level got multiples retest or multiple holds on it. So that level is going to be getting weaker and weaker, and eventually nothing's going to care about it anymore because you've been up and down through that level so many times. But when the level is going to be open up, like over here, like I've been mentioning, let's go first by levels. Right, those are the levels as in daily open, weekly open that you mentioned, Mark. So already here, you had the daily open. You went a little bit more higher up and then straight down into the failure of this previous swing. Next up, like I've been mentioning, so like I've been saying, like those weaknesses are coming from as well levels most of the times when I'm looking at it. Why? Because you are failing daily level without even coming close to retesting it back. Right? You're failing it. Next level, it's over here. You open up the daily level over here. Another failure. Weekly level. So that's changed already, because weekly level you open up over here, been perfectly testing it, holding it, and you bounce from it. So that was a quite nice scalp. Going back into that and then closing below, you're failing it. Now, turning around, coming back, and that was today happening, coming into that level, weekly, a little bit more above, sketchy as fuck, and then bang on, failing. Right? So already, because of this failed. Because right now, you're not only retesting your previous weekly level, as in this open, but the structure what you build over here, as right now, this is the resistance, right? Because you came back all around over here into this and you fail straight ahead because this push you lower. So already here, look at that daily over here that I've been mentioning today. Open up over here, up and through this level. Not even flinch or hold or anything. Just straight down through the rest of the levels. So yeah, they do matter. After the second, after first retest over here, I'm considering already weak. And if there is like second test of the level, something like this, hold and go straight, then that's already done. That level, it's not even considered already as a strong level. But because we left, for example, this level over here, this daily, untested, then yeah, next time I'm going to come back into that. That's definitely going to have some pullback possibility from that level, right? Always. The first test, so something like this, first test of that always matters. So you can see already in back test that you went all the way here. That's a quite nice scalp from it. Or if you catch that, 2.5, yeah, perfect scalp. But the second one, not really keen on that. If it's not going to be a high time frame, that means monthly, right? Monthly can be like quite strong after the second as well, but eventually that gets weaker as well by the time. The same here. Like, let me invert the chart to make it a little bit more easier on you. This daily, previous daily 3, right? Open up over here. Look at that. Open up, straight up, and then bang, straight through it, right? You invert it. It was a quite nice long. So that weakness start to turn into the strength, that level, because not only we went straight into that and then hold that for ages, couple days, and then almost got close to retest that, and then straight after that we went quite heavily below that level. So that's only on the levels open, right? Now, if you mention swing points or swing levels, that means structure-wise, that starts to get a little bit more heavier and quite accurate. Sorry, really accurate, because not only you mentioned the levels that you need to test or hold or fail from, bearish or bullish, but then on top of that, you have support or resistance, which you build in from that levels. So why those swing fails matter? Because as I'm like to mention as well to my students, take your arrow point and go from no matter where, from the low to the high, from the low to the high, from the low, high, low, high, low, high, low. Move it away from the chart. Technically, those are all swing points, also in swing failures. That means this is your swing, this, 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 all of that. So already you see a path, right? So this swing took you all the way over here. This swing took you here. What does that mean? You still hold, right? Technically, a little bit. If you do it to the wicks, you're going to see quite significant failures or gainers. You didn't come, that swing wasn't that strong enough to get you all the way to the high, and you fail from it. And now you start to grind high, right? So already you can see what kind of direction they are giving you and where do you fail from. So what do we need to regain? Already the previous high that you came back from. So this you highest high right now to regain. Going back into that, right? That's what you need to do. This is the swing, regain and fail from. So that's why I like to mention as well in to my students, like if you don't see them on the chart because of the wicks or whatever, do that, because that's the high that you came from. You need to regain that to go higher to here, right? So this, you reverse that. So from here you need to go there. From here you need to go there. Those are the points where you fail or regain lost or came back from in a continuation way, right? So already over here, you can see this was the low, small high, hold of the low, failure, hold, high, technically a failure, and now you start to reverse, right? So already you can see that there is some weakness into it. You didn't come close even, regain that, or getting into this, right? If you take it out from the charts. So already this gives you multiples, not only confirmations, but confluence in how the charts behave and in which direction you go. Because as I've been mentioning this as well, I like to do this. And now without even pulling the lines on the chart, I can see clearly what did we fail and what did we regain and what do we need to hold. So, okay, let's zoom out. Doing that only by looking at this, where we came from, here, where, technically all the way here. From this point, after we failing this low and this high, we settle a new low. What did we do after that? This. Was this good enough? No, not even close. What do we do after that? This. Okay, what do we do now? This. Is this still bullish? Now, where are we? Here. That's why swings are the most powerful tool on your charts together with your structure. But those are going hand in hand. If you know structure, you know swings and vice versa. Otherwise, you can't do it. You will not understand it. You need to understand one of those two things. Definitely structure because that's the most easiest. So this is it, right? This is your resistance. And to signify that, this is your resistance. Why? Because those two freaking candles are the quite significant move to the downside from it. You failed, right? What did you fail? Underside retest. You didn't even come close to the high. Where do you go now? To make it easy on you, where do we go? First, this. This is the first swing, technically on the lower time frame, what brought you here. And now you're getting here, here, and here. So failing this, if this is your resistance and you're going to regain that, where do you go? All of that, all of those wicks over here, as scammy as they are, they tell you that there is not really a structure anymore to hold on because all of that shit been tested. So you need to go way back to the left. There is a wick with maybe a small body on it of some kind of structure. Oh, look, we came close to it. Not significant into it, but close to it. So next stop or any potential bounce back from it should be over here. How high? Still, we might do this, or this, or even this. And that's structure-wise. Because like I've been always, from beginning of this session, been saying, structure-wise, we going there still. Why? Because not only we didn't come close to this area, we didn't come close to this area yet, we didn't come close to this area yet. And now, doing that, sorry to say you, but still, this is another resistance. So look how much shit you need to do to even think about it to go into the 120K. Instead, so, but another question, which way should, is much more easier? To go there or to go there? Right? So this is still like all of that stuff over here, it's still pressure to the downside. Because every single time we try to get into that and it start to look like we might regain or finally go higher, we're failing. And that's 101 how you trap longs or people into the bullish sentiment. Still, this is still down. Yes, potentially we having still over here support that we are holding right now on. Yes, it is a little bit more higher. This is still support, yes, but still that's going to be broken. What do you mean? I mean, coming back into that, close anything below 4 hour or daily, because we start to get close to the daily close. And then you can do one more push into the high, bearish on the side retest, as normally as it gets to the downside, and you have a continuation. Another one, another one. Now you start to grind from highs, mid, and then into the small stuff like that to do some potential upside movement. Why? Because as always I've been saying, if you have this perfect continuation to the downside, what do? Easy as that. Trapping not only shorts, but stacking, get loads of liquidity. And one way or another way, we will this. And if that's going to be all-time high or mid or somewhere in 120, that depends. And we still can do something like that. Or hold and have a continuation, also turning around. I think we quite see same thing. Okay, let me erase this, make it a little bit more easier because I like to draw way too much. So remember what I just draw and look at this structure over here. I mean, I think it's obvious, right? That this is doing something like that, right? That's obvious. I don't need to point that out. Okay, look back. Like I've been always saying, and I guess Eagle can agree with me as well, backtesting. Backtesting is the most important thing. Look at that, all-time high. Does that look similar? What do you do after that? And then even bigger, done. Okay, next. Even if you zoom in, like all the same shit. Hang on. And then same thing over here again. And then you start to regain, right? If you're going to do this, like, yeah, we could potentially, if you want to reverse, then think about that this going to get back into the 94 area. So we are somewhere maybe over here, right? We can do something like that into the mid area, fail from it again, grind again, and then do the bigger stuff and do maybe the 200K, whatever people are thinking. We might be over here in this move, but I'm way extended. So yeah, potentially this will be grabbed one way or another way, right? Is it right now? Maybe. Are we failing something? Not the highs, yes. The lows, not yet. Are we squeezing? Hell yeah. We've been doing that already from weeks already. A week. It's been more over a week. Yeah, we do. So yeah, swing failures and swing levels. The most important one in my particular opinion. On top of that, then you add the levels, open and closes, plus liquidity. Those three things, support, resistance, and structure. Those four things are the most basics of trading. And without even indicators, like, I'm sorry, I'm saying that, but yeah, opens and things, you still can manually do them if you don't have the indicator. Yeah, that's all. That's 101 basics of the basics of the basics of the fucking basics and trading. But to be honest with you, don't get me wrong, I think 60% of top traders don't remember to do that anymore. Sometimes I'm seriously looking at X and good people who know how to trade. I'm thinking like, I think you forgot some basics sometimes, but it's not always that happening. Most of the people, they know what to do. But it's same like in school, right? You are like back in the schools, you've been into the books, you need to fucking remember everything. And after school, you fucking forgot like half of it or even more. Same with driving, right? After you get your license, you start to drive on your own, in your own style, something like that, right? Keeping things and whatever. What's dangerous, yes, we all know, but please, everyone does that. But yeah, this is how it gets. Swing levels are the most accurate and most perfect levels that you can go by trading. It gets your invalidation quite tight as well. Same as Superfibs, but Superfibs is a little bit more and deeply in laddering into that. And Superfibs counts quite significant support and resistance, right? But swing failures are aiming for literally the structure. And this is the structure. This is it. No VIX involved. So yeah. And it shows you quite good where are the levels of validations and the whole way, where do you need to aim. It canceled the whole noise as well for you, right? Because technically I don't care what's happening here. I care what's here, here, technically here. That's all. Right now I care only about one. That's this. Losing that, I know where we're gonna go. I don't need to look anymore at this bullshit here because that's nothing. That's noise. If you're gonna go in a lower time frame, then yes, that matters. A 4 hour or a higher up, noise. Right? And so far, look at that. That's the swing failure right now. Right, perfect. Yes. Now we're aiming for this area. Failing the structure, the red line, or the white one below. Closing anything below that, done. We're gonna get back here, one pullback, and maybe another failure. Still, we're not gonna regain something. But that's the same thing. Like, guys, don't get me wrong. Like, yeah, I love to be a, let's say, bear or short the shit out of it because it's easy. The shorting is much more easier than longing. And same thing over here, right? Like, you're gonna long the shit out of it, still, it's gonna be invalid. Where do you gonna have an invalidation? Over here. Didn't get invalid, right? So you still longing the shit out of it. You're not thinking about shorting. You're not get into resistance. Same thing over here. You short the shit out of it, still it's gonna get invalid. One way or another way, one trade, you're gonna be stopped out. For what? But then you're gonna know, wait, now we start to turn around because not only the shorts got stopped out, but I'm seeing that we start to close above, for example, here. Okay, still, where we go? Where we aiming for? This on the next pullback, along the shit out of it to get there, right? And same thing what we're doing here. Like, let's say this is stepwise to the downside. Most likely, we're gonna do stepwise to the upside because there is shitloads of resistance, and maybe one or another candle is gonna be an outlier for bigger liquidity grab. But overall, it might come back into the support and have a continuation. To be honest with you, this looks rough. This start to look same thing what we did over here. So be aware. And to wrap this up with the swing points, swing levels, to give you a perspective how accurate they are, and mentioning as well because Viking mentioned that this whole dump and give you front run it by Algo Master by one candle over here because the signal came over here for the short. Yes, that's correct. But to give you a little bit more insight of swing failures, swing 4 hour swing gives you already the sign that we're gonna break something over here. And Algo Master give it on here. So that front run quite heavily into that big ass short that I've been in. So this was the first failure of the swing. The whole structure over here been a failure. here. So this was already the first failure of the swing, right? Over here with that wick, the mid area, you didn't regain. You had a failure. So this is the first one. Second time, you go all of the way with this wick over here. Try to fail this. Try to fail this. And then what do? Coming back. Where? Underside retest. Of what? 4-hour of the swing. Second one. Third one. And there it is. Another one. Underside retest. Not even coming close. Hang on. 4. Here. You could be in the short. Here could you be in a short. Here. Last moment short. Whatever. Or a scalp. If you're going to go in low time frame. But the 4-hour swing failure happened already over here. That was a retest. If you want to have a short, that was the aim. If you want to wait for the 4-hour, I've been a little bit more risky and I took already this shit with the small invalidation over here, but above this line. Didn't even come close. Look at that. How about a nice slide to the downside? Hang on. Wave master, trend change. Already on this candle. On the neutral line even. Hang on. Didn't even come close. Cash flow out into the negative here. So many confluence already. And yes, we had a small reversal. And we technically did. Into the next trend change. A failure of the failure of the failure. Bang. So many confluence over here for a short. I'm wondering how many people took this. Or even saw that over here. But yeah, there we have it. Swing failures. Hope it was clear, Mark. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Stupefib. Yeah, exactly. Same. But there was one on the lower time frame. Yes, there was one. But on the higher time frame, we didn't even reach that, right? Because there you have it. Sometimes they're going to be front run as well. And that's why Sue says as well, sometimes she's going for the swing failure more than on the Stupefib because, yeah, it gets front run. And then you missed out on all of this freaking move, right? And to be honest, it looks simple. It's just the way if you're going to backtest it and how confident you are with it, right? So for me, this was already a no-brainer. And what you can do to make it even much more easier, if you are quite unknown with the swing failures, then ladder in, right? Let's say like this is your failure first, this candle over here, and you know that those lines over here, what you settled, this is your swing with this top wick over here, then ladder in all of this and have your invalidation above the wick over here, right? And see how much is going to be taken. And look at that, 2 orders. Perfect. So what? It's going to be only 2 orders. But still, you are in the short. You're making money either way, right? You can make it complicated for yourself as you want, but keep it simple, as I've been saying. Like, there is no, like, I don't understand why should you make it complicated for yourself or like way too much think about something. Like, this is your level, this is your high, this is your failure, this whole wick, wide significant say in your face, like, we are failing. I'm not gonna hold all time high. We're not gonna go higher till we're not gonna regain. What are we doing? Okay, see, look and watch the charts. If it level gets over here, right? One order got filled, second got filled, or make it even more tighter, right? So you're gonna have 4 orders gonna be filled. Okay, one failed. Nice. In the short, coming back into that, another failure. Nice. Okay, we are quite away from my orders. Let's put my stop loss in break even then. Done. Second failure, not really likely we're gonna come back into that. So yeah, there we have it. And people can say it's manipulation, whatever, but Algo Master give you the signal over here. People have been ignoring that as well. So yeah, that's swing levels. Same thing over here. When we've been here, this area. Switch this off because now overlap. Over here. Funny enough, the people were laughing at me. I'm gonna take this short. When we've been somewhere over here. We've been aiming to go higher because people been aiming for that. Like, yeah, okay, but this is the daily swing failure. So first I want to see to regain that, or even flipping 1 to 5. Look at that. Still in that short. Why? This is a resistance. Right? Like, I'm taking step. So my way of thinking is taking step by step. Okay, let's what's the first step? If we are somewhere over here, this area, let's say, right? Yes, I would like to have the price over here. But what's in front of that? Before we're gonna get that, what's in front of that? This. I need to watch out because this is still resistance. This is still daily failure. And quite significant because we've been failing the previous low on that one. This is resistance, no matter what. First, you need to regain that to go there. And not only first, I'm gonna aim for 126, 25, whatever, because this is your underside retest of that whole swing failure, what you did from all-time high with this big ass liquidations week as well. So what do you mean we're gonna go back into the all-time high again when there is so much stuff to do? And people have been fucking laughing at me. I'm like, do you? I don't care. I'm gonna pull the swing, the short on that one. If I'm gonna get stopped out, I don't care. Then I'm gonna look for the underside retest of this. First thing first, daily wise, resistance over here. And yes, it did play out because we already know. But that played out quite heavily. We went higher on the wick, as I've mentioned that, right? That wick got higher than this structure, but body-wise, it didn't even come close to close higher up. And then second failure wick, third failure wick, fourth one, and that's been done. Things too is saying that as well quite often. Price looks strong at the resistance and weak at the support. Yes. So there is your noise. Look at that. Funny enough, we are still not even close to 120, 125 area. Opposite, we are quite getting further and further from it. So don't take it for granted. Price. Side of yeah, nice. Let's see. It's still 1.5 hour for 4 hour to close. It's gonna be interesting. Definitely. How they're gonna close. And then of course the next important close is gonna be the daily. All right. Closing like that, even then that's gonna be rough and quite shitty for a continuation. But pulling it back and closing daily above 103, 104 ish in a bullish formation candle. Yes, I'm not really on the candle wise pattern, but still, that gives you quite more hopium for a buyback. But that's all. Far. There is still resistance above. Still, we're gonna meet the first one and then pulling it back from. Be aware of that. Questions about that? About the swings structure? Trading about that? Or- Guys, did you hate your Mac rip already? Fucking disgusting. No, all good. Okay. I hope it was clear as well. And you understand what I mean about it. And by all means, go and test it. How do you signify swing points? First, in theory, need to practice. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the only thing. Go and backtest it. Swing failures. High of the 4-hour swing close. Previous one. The low of that. That's you swing. Then failing. Closing above or below it. Done. This is it. This is it. How it gets. But it is all practice. Like even every single strategy, you need to go and backtest it by yourself. Then you're gonna see them in validations, how heavy you can go on it, how much leverage you can use, how potential likelihood is there to come back into the high, into the low, into the mid. Because yes, I even using the midpoints. Those are a little bit more iffy because it's not always there. It all depends on the structure. But yeah, there is, for example, 4-hour midpoint over here, right? So looking at structure over here, what's the midpoint? Technically, midpoint is this. The first, the bearish formation candles, what you have, right? The pullback and then the failure of that one. Where did you struggle with it? Over here. This you technically small RSI, the midpoint. The high, the low, the midpoint. Look what you fail from. Bang on. Small fix to the upside, but still, it didn't get invalid. So even, funny enough, you didn't took it from this structure, from this, yeah, by all means, that still could be a nice play. Watching out for this area because you've been holding it, but already when you had this high back or sell off, let's say over here on this candle, nice, on this candle, you could potentially on the lower time frame, knowing that we are starting to reverse. So what's the deal and what's the problem if you're gonna take a trade of 0.6 ish area or a bit more bigger, 109? That's a super tight stop loss. Sorry, 109, 0.9, sorry, 0.6 and 0.9 or whatever. So 0 dot something. That's a super tight one, right? Even for a scalp position, because then not on 4-hour. Right? Let's see what 1-hour is doing. So already you are failing on 1-hour, but on 4, this is the 4-hour one here. So 1-hour failing. Let's see where do we get that. Not even close to the high. So could potentially have this all above 0.8 1 hour. Either 0.82. Yeah, exactly. Or retest. There it is. That's right. No, that's when the price is there, the emotions and things start to skyrocket. But sometimes you just pull the trigger and let's see what's gonna be. If you can miss a trade, if it's gonna go into stop loss, then you know what's happened. If not, then you have a nice short or long, whatever. Right? It's all about your own strategy and following it to the listening. So far, like not really keen on using only indicators or going by opium or in or something. Spot wise, that's different, right? Average trading. I like my lines. Lines. So yeah. Right now, again, the recap. Do we need to do? Close anything above this. If not, to get into that, sliding more. For the bulls, are still with us. Regain of 106. That's the main point that you need to get. And then you start to get into the resistance of 2.10. Again, same thing as some. Not much change. So yeah, That's in a nutshell. Pity. Biggest meme coin ever. Like to piss people off with it, saying that. So yeah, guys. Any questions? Anything do you like to shoot? If not, I'll be back on Sunday. Not really keen on staying in house for the next couple of days with my girlfriend. Great stuff. Thanks. Good questions. Coming in. Always learning. Great. Explanation and yours. Oh, mate. Thank you. Appreciate it, Roka. I hope it was useful. I hope so. And like I've been saying in the beginning of the stream, I seriously would like to know from people as well. Like you don't need to share your fucking the golden nuggets whatever, but just like screenshot the how you use the capital flow index, because not only I'm interesting of n- understanding or finding a new ways, maybe people finding a new ways of it to use it, but as well for members, like to show off that this is really useful. And believe me, this will fucking skyrocket your portfolio. You're gonna look at it as market wise, what's going on, and on your portfolio when to take profits or add up or to buy something. Boy, oh boy, you're gonna make fucking money. And to be honest with you, okay, fuck, I shouldn't say that, but don't quote me and don't go that crazy. But if you're gonna understand it quite well and knowing what you're doing, you don't need to look at the charts anymore. I'm gonna say it quite slowly, and I hope people not gonna quote me on that. But I often caught myself pulling or buying sport or whatever without even looking at the chart, just going by the capital flow index. So don't go that crazy yet. Get used to it. Let it sink in. Understand it. Work on it. Backtest it definitely, because there is quite a lot of history on it if you zoom out, but and go by different time frames. But believe me, just use it as you spot back information kind of a goal. Like where are you? Where should you take profit? Or where should you rebuy or whatever? Believe me, that's gonna fucking triple your bags already. Even in this shitty kind of formation of the market or structure wise or whatever you're doing, still potentially you're gonna miss out on moves because you're not looking at all of those backs exactly the same way as you look at the charts constantly. Or you have, for example, only Bitcoin in front of you, but your backs are somewhere like over here, and once in a while you're looking at them, and sometimes you miss out on things if you're not setting alerts, right? Believe me, if you're gonna look at this, you're gonna have a big overview of your backs, and you're gonna see which one is potentially a gainer or a loser, and which one you should cut loss or even re-enter or rebuy or sell or take profits or whatever. And if you're gonna follow that strategy for months, no matter which conditions is the market, you're still gonna make money. But hey, don't listen to me. Try it out. But I would like to see some different opinions of the people from the community, how they use it, in which direction they use it, or how they set it up, or anything, because it's quite interesting. And there is a lot of options to do with not only automations but as well alerts. And go crazy with it, like seriously crazy. And I think there is a lot of room to play around with the tokens as well. So, and not only that, like don't forget there is uh, much more to it, right? Like the forex one. Jesus, I'm using forex quite a lot lately as well while I'm doing the or trying, not really trying, but like building up to a home in Poland and building it. Like I'm flipping through currencies right now as well, and I'm jumping around, selling, buying low, selling. Like seriously, this makes shitloads of money as well over time. Like euro right now as well. Like I fucking hell, you can make a lot of money just flipping the currencies. Equities as well, same thing. Like this is such an easy tool. just by looking at it. Like, fucking hell, should I invest in gaming? Like, boy, look for some tokens that did quite well in the in history of it, and yeah, see potential buy or even spot small back, because potentially you're still aiming to fucking do the flip on it, right? But yeah, this is such a useful commodities as well. Like, boy, I wish I could spend fucking longer than 24 hours behind it. Look at that. Hey, what's interesting maybe right now to get into it? Uranium, oil. Like, not so long ago, we've been quite high on it. Potentially, maybe a way to go higher. Gold is quite high. Gas, silver. Hey, it's in crypto. Oh, that's a crazy one. Like, I'm gonna give you a. I'm gonna stop talking about that. Privacy tokens. Look what we did on privacy tokens over here, right? And that's been blasting since September, quite heavily, right? I'm not sure you guys remember that shit, but there is something in the Discord. You're gonna find it out. I've been posting about it. I've been mentioning fucking XMR over here, and I was in a small short, I guess, a small long on it. We've been holding quite nicely, and since that moment, we didn't even reach the low, not even with the fucking biggest dump. What did we do? 1x, easy. Took some time, but there you have it. 1x the token. What about all season? So, and I pulled that only by this over here because the privacy token been freaking in minus 70 on this area I've been talking about in August. I bet you if you're gonna go back on the videos and gonna rewatch that, I've been mentioning that quite heavily a couple times as well. Since then, we didn't come close to that low. There you have it. Blow off over the top. Hey, don't make me say I told you. Back in. So yeah, if there is no, so are you buying when it's low and selling when it's high? Not really buying and selling, just take profit, right? Or if you have your bag, so okay, if you aim for a new token to buy, right, then yeah, obviously the best moment is to buy when it's around minus 60 or below the 60 to find a sweet spot in your inner structure on the chart. Then yes, this is a great spot to buy. Yes, potentially you still could go a little bit lower, but then you're aiming for small percentage of going a little bit more against you. I'm not talking spot. Sorry, I'm not talking leverage. I'm talking spot right now, right? So spot can handle a little bit more downtrend. So yes, it could go a little bit lower than you buy it, but then the chance is 95% higher, then it's gonna rebound and gonna do the up movement from the lows that it already settled, because already capital flow index give you the opportunity to see if the token is on its lowest or its highest. So you're not gonna buy a token that is technically above 60% because potentially you're aiming for a really quite heavily pullback on that one, capital flow index wise, right? On the chart might be looking a bit different, but that's why I said go first on the capital flow and then see how the chart looks like. And yes, then you buy on the low and you take biggest chunk of TP quite around the neutral line, and then the rest of it above the 60. And just because you mentioned that not so long ago, I think long ago, this video made. Yeah, see, exactly. So if you watch that, I think, hopefully, if not, please, by all means, feedback is welcome. I really love it because I need to know if that's helpful or yes or no. Because for me, it's obvious, but it doesn't mean for different people could be the obvious what I'm saying or what I'm seeing. Anyhow, I explained there as well quite well how I'm taking advantage of that capital flow index. I might redo that as well because that was a part of the stream that I did. It wasn't like pre-record or something. But yeah, that's how I'm going by, right? My opportunities to buy something is around the 60 and minus 60. How deeper you go, how better it is. Same thing, vice versa to the top. And that's as well my take profits area. Right? So right now, for example, let's say PEX, right? Are you gonna jump on PEX right now? Sorry, but I don't think someone is that wise to jump on this right now. That's the area that you should take TPs. Why? Because not only you starting to get into resistance area, but you are already quite high from the previous low that you settled. Yes, this is an area to take profits. For potential, if you look for a reversal one, and how crazy it sounds, and believe me, if you start to do that, you might see overlapping confluence on it. Fucking, why can we not unfake all? This is still in the continuation area into to getting into here, right? As I've been saying in the beginning as well, I'm not sure if I mentioned that as well in the video. I'm looking at these lines as well as the chart. So low, high, high, low, higher, high, hey, lower, low, right? You start to break stuff same way. So already if you start to see this, that means potentially we're gonna reverse. Maybe there is an area as well to look for a short. This is quite heavily to the downside with this whole wick. Not always gonna happen like that. You have small ones as well. You start to get below the previous one. But yeah, sometimes you have those massive dumps that's happening, right? You're not gonna catch all of them. Don't pay attention to the charts. Same thing over here, like this shit, right? This is your lowest. Then you start to get high, higher high, higher high. You start to hold. You still have continuation into your move, right? This is the high, low, high, low, high. So up movement, right? In your capital flow. That's on the daily only. Right? I'm still sometimes, if I'm really aiming for a token or find a token really interesting, I look at the capital flow and it's like that to see potential move and regain or continuation, failing, holding. Where are we? Where are we aiming for? How deep we retrace already? Are we holding the low? Yes. Fucking buy it. Right? This is right now neutral line. Why I don't have. Oh shit! I've been zooming out. Sorry, that's above the neutral line. Sorry, I zoom out. Sorry, zoom in quite heavily. Anyhow, you get my point. I hope, right? So this is still the retrace what we had over here. Was where? Are we holding that? So still continuation. Still, that's gonna change. Same thing as on the charts. It's something that people more often will never even think in their clear mind to see this as a chart. And it doesn't. I don't say it just because it looks like a chart, like with those blocks or whatever. No, I don't care. I still can go by that even to smooth it out. Why? Still, this is the high. This is high or low. Do we have a continuation? Yes. Even we settled this lower high. Where do we settle the support? Over here. Bang on. Like, use a token and go buy as a backtest, see how that behave. And you're gonna understand it not only on the capital flow index, but then as well, how does it apply to the chart? And you don't need to do this like I'm having, like on the second tab, right? Just make the add your capital flow index into your chart, or even much better, and that's gonna be a little bit more heavier on you to remember that, or like to follow that. Add your capital flow index on each single token and use that token as well, only with the single line over here. So for example, um, let's say I'm gonna give you an example over here. Use the same ticker that you are over here, same one as on this one. I think the red one. Anyhow, and so like that. So you have your chart and you have a capital flow index on the same time frame. Is there potential to go lower? Yes. Overall, we still can dip lower, right? Why? Same thing what we're doing on the chart right now. Failing, failing, right? Already on the capital flow index of here on this low, we close below, or we've been below on the capital flow index, not on the chart, right? So for me, maybe a little bit, I don't know, maybe a little bit magically, but for me, that's like another confluation as well. But we still continuing going lower on the capital flow index. So money technically goes out of it, right? So this could continue. So far, we're doing it. If you're going to do that with every single ticker, so you're going to have another confluence, how high or how deep or where we are technically on the flow, on the whole flow index, right? Not only going by structure or swing points or indicators, whatever. There we have it. Another confluence into your strategy. Can we go deeper? Yes. Where we start to change? Here. Where is that? Here. Potentially, yes. That could be the case when we settle this. And that's why I said, does it look like a chart? Yes, it does, because it's quite copying the chart as well, because every single move is a capital flow going in or out. That's the whole index about it. Yeah, exactly. Orca, that's as well a good one, right? Yeah. So yeah, this is my whole way of looking at this and charting it, trading it, and doing every single thing to help you signify the move and correlation with your own strategy, right? With your own bias, or look for the confluence. Is there a potential way to go lower? Yeah, it is. How does it look on the daily? Over time frame. Every single thing moves with you. Does it look similar? Fuck yeah, it does. Squeezing? Yeah, you do. Do squeeze. Still a bit higher. Yeah. So yeah, plenty ways to use it. It's up to you how you do it. So far, it's shitty, but hey, it's what it is, right? But this is how I'm doing it. How I work with it. How I look at it. How I pull my information from it. There's gonna be more, but you know about it. But yeah, I've on a different account on TradingView as well. I have like fucking 4 windows with capital flow, like massively spread. Just like for playing around and checking it and backtesting stuff. And but yeah, anyhow. So yeah, this is how I work from it. And like I've been saying, like you can put it out or whatever and see what fits you, right? And even seriously, if you don't like this style or whatever, right, you can change it. Like this, all of that shit, you can change it up. And maybe you're gonna like this more, histogram, right? If something is in histogram form or columns, whatever, same thing. Like right, and going higher, 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 and then we start to sell off, right? And over here we start to go lower. Maybe not gonna be that accurate, but up to you. All here for your own use. So yeah, I hope that's clear, understandable. And if you have really questions about it, like please, by all means, spam in the in the chat or different indicators rooms or whatever, or DM me. Because this is gonna fucking triple you backs, even the market's gonna be dead. Believe make money. That's easy. So yeah, I think that's all. Thank you very much. And I'll see you Sunday. Flip side, I guess. Keep up trading, tight at it, and all the fucking noise around you. Get it. See ya.